Representative Goodwin, you talked about some of your fiscal concerns for this legislation, correct?
Yes.
Are you aware that many of the school districts are currently using federal ESSER dollars to cover their school safety and mental health expenses, and that the funding ends in 2024?
Yes, I've heard that's a great concern for my districts.
And looking at the fiscal note, on page 3, the cost of the mental health training allotment could be significant. However, it cannot be determined at this time. It goes into note that the mental health allotment would be provided from funds appropriated for this purpose. And we don't even know the cost of this program, do we?
No, actually we don't. And that, again, is a great concern.
And do you think that this is going to be an unfunded mandate that's passed on to our local school districts?
Yes, I mean, I know that the schools are struggling already with a number of things, everything from counselors to nurses to even teachers. My AISD is giving teachers a raise, but it's causing them to go negative. And this adds to that stress. Having an armed guard on every campus will cost them, I've heard estimates from $5 to $7 million. And the increase that the district will get through this bill would be somewhere around $2 million. So that's quite a difference to make up, and the school district will be required to make up that difference.
And are you aware that based on some research that I've done, the experts have estimated that after salary, training, and benefits, it will cost approximately $100,000 per campus to have an officer on every campus? This is, based on what you're saying and what I agree to, not feasible in any way for our already underfunded public schools. Every dollar that goes towards new and existing hardening mandates is another dollar that's taken away from students, families, and educators to focus on the mission of funding our public schools, high quality instruction. Wouldn't you agree with that?
I do agree with that. In addition to the cost, there's also the fact that a lot of different law enforcement agencies are looking for people to hire from, in my area, Austin Police Department, the sheriff, even DPS. And they're all looking for the same type of employee, someone to be armed. And that takes a lot of training. It's very concerning to me that we would ever think about putting someone on our school campuses who is armed, who isn't extremely well trained.
Well, I appreciate you raising those concerns. And finally, would you agree with me that an overwhelming majority of educators don't believe that we should be arming teachers with guns on campuses as well?
That's absolutely what I hear all the time. Our teachers want to teach. They don't want to be armed and protecting the students. They want to be there to teach.
And instead, overwhelming majority of Texans agree that we should be, instead of focusing on arming teachers, we should be focused on common sense gun reform legislation. Would you agree with that?
I would absolutely agree with that. We have tried to pass some things that most Texans agree with, some stronger background checks, raising the age to buy assault-style weapons. There's a lot of things that we could be doing that we did not do this legislative session.
In addition to things like red flag laws and closing the gun show loopholes, universal background checks, would those be some other things that we should be focused on as well?
Absolutely. We saw some red flags with the recent shooters here in Texas, and we are seeing more and more mass shootings in addition to accidental shootings and suicides. We should be addressing that issue alongside addressing the issue of safety in our schools. You know, honestly, safety in our schools is very important, but we've seen shootings in other places, in churches, in grocery stores. So why are we focused only on school safety? We need to be focused on safety in our communities, period.
And you're correct. I mean, we're focused, and we both agree that we should be focused on school safety. But there's, in addition to what they're trying to propose here, there are more ways that we can focus on school safety and best practices based on things that we just talked about. Really common sense gun reform legislation. Wouldn't you agree with that?
I do agree with that. I think anyone who's going to buy a gun should be legally allowed to buy a gun. And in order to know that, you have to go through a background check. Right now, there are ways to get around that. We should close those loopholes.
Thank you, Representative.
Thank you.